Have you ever wondered what makes a large-scale system like Amazon or Netflix work seamlessly behind the scenes? One of the key design choices come down to the type of architecture. Today, we will be diving into two common approaches, monolithic and microservices architecture. By the end of this video, you will know the advantages, disadvantages, and when to use each of these. So let's start with the monolithic architecture. A monolithic architecture is essentially a single large code base that contains all the functionality of an application. Imagine an entire system capable of dealing with authentication, business logic, and data layers bundled together into one unit. There are several advantages of monolithic architecture. Since everything happens within the same server, the function calls are quite faster because there's no network communication happening. Moreover, it's easier for smaller teams to develop the code base since the code can be reused across different parts of the application, which can speed up the development. It's also easier to detect breaking changes earlier, such as altering a function signature to an inconsistent one because everything is centralized. While these advantages are significant, it's important to note that there are some drawbacks of monolithic architecture. For example, any change, no matter how small, requires redeploying the entire application, which can significantly slow down the updates. A larger code base can be harder to debug as well as difficult for new team members to onboard. In contrast, a microservices architecture breaks an application into smaller, independent services. Each service is responsible for a specific function and they communicate with each other either via APIs or RPC calls. Microservices architecture offers numerous benefits. For instance, better resource management, since you can scale an individual service instead of scaling the entire application. Also, since the services are smaller and focused on specific tasks, it's easier for team members to get up to speed on just one service. You can deploy changes to one service without affecting the rest of the services. This means faster and more frequent updates. Although these benefits are compelling, there are certain challenges associated with microservice architecture. Breaking down an application into microservices requires careful planning and designing. It can be more challenging to implement compared to a monolithic one. Since services need to communicate over network, you introduce more overhead compared to a local function calls in a monolithic architecture. So how do you decide between a monolithic and a microservices architecture? Monolithic are great for smaller teams when you are just starting out with simple application. If your system isn't likely to scale significantly in the near future, a monolithic can be a great choice. Whereas microservices are perfect for large-scale systems where different services need to scale independently and we are building something complex and updates are quite frequent. Both architectures have their individual strengths and weaknesses. The right choice depends upon the scale, complexity, and requirement of your application. The real key is understanding what you need today and where your system might be tomorrow. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Let me know in the comments which architecture you prefer and why. See you in the next video.